They can't say or do anything. They're outnumbered. They need our support. We have to show up to the city hall meetings. We got to show up to the school board meetings. We got to give our public comments. We got to support these people that we elect or try to elect. Otherwise, there's nothing they can do. But we can give them hope and we can give them strength. They need hope and strength just as much as we all need hope and strength. And when we're together in a room like this, with 85 of us, here with our masks off, not social distancing, but socializing and being human, and not allowing the state to humiliate us. That's power. That's power. And we got to give that to our elected officials. And Mary Starrett's going to come up and give us a really good talk.
So there's no microphone, but I'll give it my best shot. First time I walked in here, I looked around and I honestly felt like I was in some kind of an altered state. Because I walked in and nobody had a mask on and everybody was laughing and everybody was having a good time. And I thought, why is that so unusual? And we all know why it was so unusual. It's because we've all been told to stay home, do not go to work unless you're a government employee, and then you don't have to because you'll continue to get paid for not going to work or not teaching in the classroom. And another night I was in here, it got to be like Cheers for me. Another night I walked in here, and some young man walked in and he had a mask on, and everybody, it got quiet, and everybody just looked at him. Mask off. And I said to the people I was sitting with, he's OLCC. Well, I came to find out that he wasn't. And the only reason I know he wasn't is because when we looked at what OLCC did, we know that they took pictures through the only window that didn't have a curtain. So if you want to talk about the power to destroy, they are with the non-elected bureaucrats in the state agencies that can destroy you because they have unfettered powers. And I just want to talk briefly about local government. What you think in terms of the power of the people being in Washington, D.C. or Salem, think more local. Think about your school boards that are teaching children to hate their country and disrespect their parents. Think about your city councils who have the power to tax, the power to regulate, and the power to tell you what you can and cannot do. Also look to your county. Your county commissioners, again, have the power to tax, to regulate, and to pass ordinances. We just passed an ordinance yesterday in Yamhill County. It was a Second Amendment sanctuary ordinance. There are bills working their way through the legislature which will basically destroy what's left of your Second Amendment rights. Now, I know I'm not the only person who's carrying a firearm tonight, and I figure that there's probably an untold number, and probably the only people who are not carrying a firearm are this little boy here. I don't know. You never know. We want to make sure that he has the opportunity to do so, and the way it looks now, unless all the Republicans walk, those bills are going to pass. And when you talk about school choice, guess what? It's not going to matter. You know why, Ben? Because there's a House bill that's working its way through, which will require private schools and faith-based schools to basically go along with what the state requires in curriculum and in everything else.
It's horrible.
So if you think it's going to stop in public schools, it's not. There are bills that basically legislate. I heard it today described as Armageddon type, end of the world type bills because they can, because the supermajority figures all bets are off, just like in Washington, D.C. We're going to undo every good thing that was done, and we're going to ram through every one of our agenda items because we can. So right now, what I would recommend is that you contact the House minority leader, who is Senator Fred Gerard. You've probably heard this if you were on Oregon Firearms Federation mailing list. Contact him and contact Representative Christine Drazen and tell them in no uncertain terms you want them all to walk out. Because if there's one person on the floor, if they have the Republicans on the floor, they will pass all of these bills. And you can forget being able to carry a firearm. You can forget being able to send your kids to school without all of the punitive rules. And you can forget being able to own and run a business. So if you think it's bad now, it's going to get worse if you don't do something.
Mine.
So I just wanted real quickly to talk about local government. If you look at your property tax bill, everybody on there that you see a number from is local government. You think that the Parks Department, the local Parks and Rec, how harmful can they be? Let me tell you something. Just in Newburgh, they wind up taking more of a chunk of the property tax bill than the county gets. The county only gets 17% of what you write your check for, but the Parks and Rec district here has been floating bonds. For instance, for an aquatic center that they just went millions over, and now they're going to charge you to go to it after you're already paying a bond. So they have the power to, and they become a taxing district. So they are local government. Your city council, your school boards that either pass or don't pass a Black Lives Matter resolution. And we had one here in Newburgh where one of our school board members, Dave Brown, stood up and said, I'm not signing on for this resolution. He was the only person on the school board with the nerve to stand up and say no, and they pilloried him on social media.
He's a good man.
And he's a wonderful man.
He's a friend.
And he is, I tell you, I just saw him the other day, and he's got 3 people running for school board in Newburgh. And if you are in any way, shape, or form in Newburgh, please get in touch with me, and I will put you in touch with the groups that are volunteering to get these people on the school board, because then there will be a majority. And guess what? All of this stuff goes away. And to go back to your local governments, I'm in my 2nd term, and for the first term, I didn't have the votes I needed to pass the Second Amendment sanctuary ordinance. But we got another commissioner elected, Lindsay Burschauer, who is a wonderful ally, and I love it because I'm not the only target now.
That's right.
So my brother, who is the executive director of the Oregon Firearms Federation, when she came to talk to him about supporting her, because as you know, if Oregon Firearms Federation supports you, you've got a good path. If they don't support you, you have hell to pay. And so if you're not involved with Oregon Firearms Federation, I would encourage you to just Google it and sign up just for their alerts. They will tell you about the bills that are coming through and what you can do about it. Anyway, she went to see him to ask for his endorsement. And he said to her, would you be willing to support a Second Amendment sanctuary ordinance? And she said yes. Well, guess what? I think she was afraid not to. Because we wound up going through the last 3 weeks of trying to get this vetted. We have one commissioner who is, let's just say, less than like-minded. So yesterday we had our first reading of the sanctuary ordinance, and we'll have a second reading in April. And because it was not unanimous, it will go into effect in 90 days, which is really good. Because if any of these bills pass, these gun bills pass, you basically will become a felon for just about anything having to do with your legally owned and legally carried firearm. We will become like California. And it's really serious, folks. This is not, you know, as my brother likes to say, we are 1 minute before midnight. Yeah. We don't have any more time. And if you think it's because we don't care, we just didn't know. Well, we were raising our families and we were going to church and we were doing everything that, just running a business. They were having very, very militant classes on how to get women in local politics. Every board, every planning commission, so for instance, the planning commission in your cities and your county will tell you what you can do with your property. It matters who's on those citizen committees. The budget committees, we just appointed a woman who is a bank vice president here in Newburgh to our budget committee. We have a full slate of conservatives on that, and we worked really hard because they determine what happens to your tax dollars. So it really does matter at every single term who is representing you in local government. So if you feel like you're surrounded, you are. You're surrounded by the enemy. And if you think it's too late, I'm going to caution you not to give up hope. And the one story I want to just leave you with is this. Many of you have probably heard of the most highly decorated Marine in Corps history, and that was Chesty Puller. Do you know who he was? He wound up with every medal that you could imagine, and he had a never give up spirit. He was fighting the Japanese, and he was told by his commands, there are 29 to 1. They have surrounded us on the right side, and they have surrounded us on the left side. They're behind us, and they're in front of us. He said, good, now they can't get away. The other thing he said was, they said, there's no way we can win this battle. And he said, fire in all directions. And they did, and they won.
Wow.
So with the grace of God, and with the hard work of people working in local politics and in state politics, we can get good people elected, keep them there, encourage them, pray for them, and by all means get involved in every possible committee, board that you can, and let everybody walk out of here tonight with a commitment to get a buddy and work on this, and whatever your area of interest or expertise is, do it, because we are 1 minute till midnight. So I want to thank Christy and Joe for their courage, because this is not about a bar. This is about the American dream, and either we fix it now, or we just go home.
Yeah.
So thank you all.
I love that Mary talked about the Second Amendment. The framers of our Constitution understood one thing, and one thing primarily. They designed a country that had the most powerful director of that country was God, because everything's under God.
Woo!
And then the people, because the people answer to God. And then the government, because the government answers to the people. In Oregon, if we want our government to answer to us, we have to get busy. We got to get to work. And that's what Free Oregon's all about. We have members. And members are people that can put in some money, sign a petition, make a call, make an introduction. And then we have organizers. And organizers are people that have a little more time to devote. And they can organize the community around them and bring people together around them. I'm born and raised in the city of Portland. I went to Benson High School. I graduated from Grant High School. All right? I was raised by public school teachers that are progressives. I don't know why my brain's wired the way it was, but I was a Republican since 1996. And it's a lonely feeling until you meet another one of us. Woo! And then what happens when you meet another one of us is you meet another one of us. And then another one of us. And then soon you can fill a room, a bar, a church, a nation, a stadium, a nation. Thank you. That's what it takes, and that's what organizers do. They lead. And we want to see those organizers get appointed into commissions. We want to see those organizers get elected to seats and chairs. And this is political action work that we're doing, political action work. And the other thing we're doing is we're building a coalition of conservative and even moderate special interest groups. Because one of the biggest problems we have in our state, one of the reasons the Democrats whoop us all day long is because they're organized. Not because they have better ideas. Our ideas are good. We have good ideas. And we need to speak about those ideas. And when we speak about those ideas and they come at us by the thousand, because I've been canceled 3 times in the last 14 months, I'm on the other side of cancel. Racist, homophobe, cancel. Heard that all before, 20,000 times. Right? On the other side of cancel, it doesn't matter anymore. You keep speaking. You don't shut up when they tell you to shut up.
That's good.
And when you do that, people come together around you. And that's what we need to do. Don't shut up. Come on. Don't shut up. And what started this entire disaster is COVID-19. The China virus. Can I say it again? The China virus. Come on. That's what it even COVID means, is the Wuhan virus. It's not racist or xenophobic. It's where it's from. It doesn't matter. But it's not what you think it is. And I've got someone who means a lot to me, because when I first got canceled, I had a video in 72 hours that got 40,000 views, and literally 10,000 people called me a racist, and I'm not a racist. The black community shaped my life growing up. I was the only white dude on my basketball team. I was the only white boy in the backfield of the football team. And my friends, in my family, when I moved out of my own house when I was 16 years old, it was the African-American community that took me in and let me live with them. And when these corporations like Coca-Cola go around, they say, "Now listen, white people, these are very sensitive people. They're very fragile. And you gotta watch what you say. In fact, you're racist even when you don't know you're racist. That's how racist you are, and that's how fragile they are." That's a lie. They are not fragile people. And many of them are joining us. And we need that to have happen. But COVID-19 was the thing, the event that began this entire battle that we're in right now. And there's nobody in Yamhill County, not one person, that knows more about it than Dr. Tina Moore. And she's going to speak tonight about what she knows.
Woo! Oh my gosh, this is like the Power Women night. I'm so excited. I'm so happy to be around human beings.
Yeah.
So I just want to dispel some myths for you guys. So I'm an naturopathic doctor, I'm a chiropractor. So I believe in the body's natural ability to heal itself. Although I believe heavily in modern medicine as well. And I always ride the line. I almost died when I was 19 from a virus. And I almost got taken out, and then I almost died again about a decade later, and then I almost died again about a decade later, all from 3 different viruses. So I have a very particular interest in viruses. I grew up in Oregon. I've been here since, 89? I went to Beaverton High School. I went to Portland State University. I'm a duck. I know I'm not in duck country, so don't hiss at me right now. I fell in love with a man from Amity last year, and I live in Amity now on 40 acres of land. I've been here for a year, so like,
Awesome.
I'm doing it. But when this virus hit, I thought, I couldn't believe the untruths that were being spread. I still can't viscerally believe the nonsense that everyone's been fed constantly. Yeah. And I just want to dispel some of them. First of all, 99.84% of this nation, of Americans, have survived this virus.
Yes. Amen.
You have that, if you're under 65, you have that percentage basically of surviving the virus. So we have 0.16% of our nation has died. And no doubt it's okay, but we're treating this as if it's a zero situation. This entire state and my whole profession has taken this lead of it's not okay when anyone dies. But who here has raised livestock? Or had dogs? Or kids? Viruses call herds. And I hate to say that out loud, but if you talk to any veterinarian, they will tell you what viruses do to groups of mammals. And I have a very particular interest in animal behaviors, and that was my undergrad. So I was like, and sociology, so how animals behave in groups. So this has been a very interesting year for me. And I happen to grow a very large Instagram following, so I've been in the front row of this whole situation. I've been getting messages from doctors and nurses, ICU nurses, all over the world, you guys, from day one. We know who's dying from this virus. We just happen to have a very unhealthy population in this country.
Right.
And so that is why we are in a particular pickle. Because we have a lot of inflammation, we have a lot of nutritional deficiencies.
Come on.
We have a lot of frailty, we have a lot of people who don't have good muscle mass on their body, regardless of what size their body is, they don't have good muscle mass because we've become a lazy, compliant nation. And we are easy, I have been telling my mom this since I was 19 years old that this was coming. And I told her we are easier to control when we are slow, sick, and dumb.
Yes, right.
So this is what's going down the chute. I don't even want to get into the vaccine, but I'll tell you some truths. Number one, PCR tests were never ever designed to diagnose a virus. They erroneously drive up cases because of the cycle threshold, which has been ran at a much higher rate for this particular virus than any other virus or any other testing time in history. So we have an incredibly high case number that is inaccurate. And there's a lot of false negatives there too, so meaning a lot more people have caught and gotten through this virus than we even have the numbers for. So the numbers are completely shot. The death rate is completely shot as well. Because you don't just die of COVID, you die with COVID. Exactly. So the way that it's been reported in the whole country and the whole world for the most part is that if you test positive for COVID with an erroneous test, with a ton of false positives and false negatives, and you end up 2 months later of dying in the hospital of a car accident, you are called a COVID death. And you are reported amongst COVID deaths. There are known therapeutics, there have been known therapeutics from the beginning. I found them on Google. Everyone says, oh, Google's censored. I'm like, not if you look past page 3 and you just keep looking. Right. There were groups of doctors all over the world working together, coming out with cocktails of drugs that worked in harmony. They synergized together. Steroids, antibiotics, ivermectin. How many of you guys feed ivermectin to your pets from the feed store? Hydroxychloroquine, all of these different things used together, when used early, this many people did not need to die. And this has been known from the beginning. And the last thing I'll leave you with is, if you are deficient in vitamin D, your chances of dying of this virus are significantly high. If you are inflamed and you are carrying excess weight around and you are not taking good care of what you eat and the food that you put in your mouth and the nutrients like vitamin C and zinc and basic, inexpensive stuff that every American should have been given prophylactically. Like, if they shut down gyms, which is like, ridiculous. Because of all the people who are not going to die from this, it's healthy, fit people. So there's something going on, and I don't know what it is, but I do know that if you don't take good care of your health, you're playing into it. So take personal responsibility of your health immediately. Do what you need to do. Read up on it. You can follow me on Instagram. I have a ton of content on there. It's just DRTYNA, Dr. Tina. And just pay attention to what's going on, because you are not a sitting duck. And if you are led to believe that you're a sitting duck, you will stay scared, and it's fear that's driving this whole thing. So that's what I got.
Thank you, everybody. That was amazing. Thank you, Dr. Tina. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Christy. Thank you for having us, Christy. Thank your staff. Thank all of you. This retainer that was paid tonight is all of your money. 100% of it from tonight's proceeds just went to go, well, unfortunately pay an attorney. But it's for a really good cause, and it's a really good attorney, because after this, y'all get to sue Kate Brown.
Yeah.
Let's get him. Go get him. Yeah. David and Goliath, but you know who won that one, right?
Yeah.
So, really, before I let you all eat, because I know you're hungry, and I'm hungry, we're all hungry, and we got to hang out and just socialize. Brandon and I, and the rest of the organizers at Free Oregon, every Friday at 5:30 p.m. we have a Zoom meeting where we discuss the initiatives and some of the details of the effort that we're taking, and we solve some of our own internal problems so that we can get out there and really canvass, because we got a May 18th election coming up. We need people to canvass, we need people to organize, we need people to come in and support us and join us. And what we do in that Free Oregon is we have guests come and speak, and inform us, and then we have that discussion. So if you guys have any questions about Free Oregon right now, Brandon and I can answer them, and I'll give you 5 minutes, so spit them out, because I know we want to get to hanging out and having fun. Does anybody have any questions about Free Oregon and what we're about? I guess we pretty much summed it up tonight. Dave?
Can you explain more about your vision? What do you
Your
see
vision.
for Free Oregon?
So, there's Free Oregon as an organization. That's a good question. Yeah, you guys can't hear in the back. He said, what's your vision? What's your vision? And we have a vision that's really important. Our vision, ultimately, our goal, is to turn Oregon into a swing state. Wouldn't that be more interesting?
Woo! Yeah.
Oh my God, who's going to win the governor's seat? Oh my God, this is so close. Wouldn't that be great? That'd be fun.
It's been a while.
It'd be reason to go to the polls. That's our ultimate goal. We're not trying to necessarily turn Oregon red, because we love Americans. We're Americans. We're all about Americans. We're Americans in red and blue. What's un-American is Marxism and socialism and those sort of things. So we're fighting against that. We're fighting against that. But liberals, they're not that bad. Progressives, yeah, they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad. So our vision, though, is to inspire Oregonians, to connect Oregonians, and to get Oregonians into action.
Yes.
Inspire, inspiration, connection, and action. That's what we're about. And so we hope we can inspire you tonight. We hope everyone walks out of here feeling inspired, that they can speak, that they can take action, that they can be who they are, the person God made you, with the brain God gave you, that thinks small government's better. That's great. We got to go with that. So be that. And we want you to take action. We want to see, we got May 18th election coming up, and we're going to need to get out there and canvass and knock on doors and fight for the people that on our team that are running for school board, because it all starts at our schools. And that's where we're picking our first fight. It's with the schools.
So I just want to add a little bit to that. First of all, it's an absolute honor to be here. I have my wife with me, my two beautiful daughters. We traveled from Bend today to be here to support an unbelievable cause. A little bit background on myself. I sit as a third primary delegate for the Deschutes County Republican Party. And 31 years old, not popular within my age group or amongst many of my friends, but
What's it say on your license plate?
45 MAGA.
Yeah.
The people of Bend hate it.
Nice. Good.
Our HOA hates us.
Yes.
But the reality is, I was lucky enough to grow up with a grandfather that served in World War II as in our 4th Infantry in our Marine Corps, was a bazooka shooter, Purple Heart recipient, and Iwo Jima in Okinawa. And so he put some serious, deep-rooted American values and a moral compass in me that I refuse to stop fighting, even though I know it takes a toll on my family. I know it takes a toll on any of us that are willing to stand up and to speak for what we believe in. What I want to add about the parallel between the Republican Party and similar to what we're doing with our organizers with Free Oregon, precinct committee people, ultimately they're not given the tools by the ORP or by the Republican Party as to what they should be doing. And that's exactly what Ben and I want to do, is find the right organizers. Casey, who some of you maybe have met tonight, is a perfect example of that. But giving them the tools, the arsenal in their back pocket when they are faced with objections, what they can actually respond with and get this ground game going that's Ben's talking about, that we constantly see the left and the Democrats having a much stronger hold on.
Right.
So truly, from the bottom of my heart, it is an honor to be here and support this cause. So thank you very much.
Woo! Thank you. Woo!
Well, thank you all.
Thank you guys. Yeah, thank you.
This is happening. at all your faces. I love it. Smiles. All right, let's have that.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, I guess I should keep saying flip it.
Christine, what? Sorry.